Hello and welcome to the Walk Off, everybody. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. We have breaking news. The Toronto Blue Jays finally freaking land somebody that they had targeted. Anthony Santander, the switch hitter formerly with the Baltimore Orioles, now officially a Toronto Blue Jay. This is from Ari Alexander. He says breaking outfielder Anthony Santander of the Blue Jays have agreed to terms on a 5-year deal pending physical. A league source tells me the Blue Jays land one of the top free agents still on the market, financials still being determined. So, as we go, I'm sure that the number will eventually come out. My guess is this is somewhere around a $100 to $110 million 5-year deal. Just over 20 AAV is what Anthony Santander is most likely making here. So this is what we're doing. This is technically MLB Mondays, which is a Patreon exclusive. We're putting this public because guess what? We were about to hit record and big news happened. So lucky you if you're on the public side. We are giving this one away. Feel free to join Patreon. It's $4 a month. With that, you get bonus content every single Monday. MLB Mondays comes out. You get the Patreon bump on Mailbag, Monday morning mailbag on a Tuesday afternoon. We comb through your interaction every single week, and you automatically, whatever comment or question you have, make it into that. You get instant access to all of our interviews. We've got some big interviews coming up here this week. Let's go through the list so you know what to keep an eye out for. Again, if you are a Patreon member, you get this instantly. If not, you need to wait a few days or whenever we release it, and away you go. So, Tuesday is mailbag. So, tomorrow's mailbag. Wednesday, we talk with Alan Roden,
Nice.
40 man from the 40 man roster, a likely candidate to maybe break as that fourth outfielder if Miles Straw doesn't take that position from him.
Yikes.
Rob Wong,
Nice.
formerly of Jays Talk, now currently kind of doing his own independent thing. Rob Wong joins us Wednesday at 4. We talk with Riley Terada of the AAA Buffalo Bisons team. He's going to be at Major League Spring Training. We talked to him on Friday, and then we talked to one of the top prospects in the Blue Jays system, number 8, actually, Josh Kasevich, shortstop, and probably starting the year at AAA. That will be Thursday again. So instant access to all of that if you are a Patreon member. If not, keep an eye out for those interviews. They will be coming out throughout the next week or two. Let's dive into it. Anthony Santander, does this save the offseason, Adam?
No, but it's better than nothing, right?
It is much better than nothing. It is much better than nothing. And this team has not had a switch hitter worth his weight in water in, good Lord, feels like a decade.
Well, it's the best left-handed bat we've had since Kevin Biggio, which is I think sad but true.
Kansas City Royal, Kevin Biggio.
Kansas City Royal minor league system player.
Yes, yes. You know what? Having a guy that can hit both ways and the versatility that this is going to give John Schneider is definitely a big boon for this organization. What the term is, we are yet to know, but they're spending money. They're already over the CBT tax. I mean, we're well aware of what bringing in Miles Straw did, and there were kind of three different ways it could have gone, which was they had the money to take the risk and were going to spend anyways. They thought they knew for sure and took the risk and then got screwed, or they took the risk and didn't have money. And with the fact that they went out and signed Santander, it means that they took the risk and still could spend. Thank God. This team needs more than that, but a little bit of excitement. This team finally got a guy that they were after.
So relative to last season, bullpen, better or worse?
Better.
Batting order, better?
So
Must be.
Anthony Santander is in.
Who's
Justin
out?
Turner's out. I would say, like, we
Bo
finally
Bichette
have a
has to
cleanup
bounce
hitter.
back, right?
Do you feel like we finally have a cleanup hitter? Because I do kind of get that sense with Anthony Santander. Last year he hit 44 home runs. Of course, that was a career high. He had a wins above replacement of 3. That's in 600 at bats, a batting average of 235. This is a dude who in 2023 hit 28 home runs. 2022 he had 33, and that's really when he became a power hitter. 30 years old.
Can I throw some cold water on this? I hate to do it. 5 years feels like too much for this guy.
It for sure is too much for this guy.
Like this is the okay, 3 years, whatever the money was. Sure, bring him in. The We're living through the George Springer
Portion of
swan
this
song.
contract. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, by the time we're out from under George Springer, Santander is going to be just as bad. Like
Maybe.
five, oh man. Why do you think it will go any differently?
Well, there are
What is it about
examples.
Santander that makes you think he will age well into his 30s? Because I'm all on board with this for this season.
Mhm.
But like I'm already the first year of George Springer was fine.
I will
The
say
last 3 have not
this.
been good.
I will say this. Anthony
Yeah.
Santander is going to be taking a lot of DH appearances this year and
Splitting
maybe
time with Pete Alonso.
I mean, really that's what this team should do. If they
Move Lad to
actually
third, bring in Pete Alonso, right?
if they really do want to actually somewhat compete in 2025, and I don't even know if bringing in Alonso with Santander is still enough
Still need a
without
starting pitcher.
bolstering this rotation. But to be fair, this team is better now than it was an hour ago. It absolutely is better
Mm-hmm.
with Anthony
Agreed.
Santander in this lineup than it is with him out of it. There is no way to project how a guy ages. He absolutely could fall flat on his face at 31. He could be Jose Batista, and we could be laughing all the way to
Sure.
35, going, how did we wind up with another late bloomer Dominican once
Sure.
again?
Could
Add
be right.
him to the list with Edwin and Jose, and let's start a chant,
Mm-hmm.
Santander, whatever it is, like I'm all for it. That's the dream. That's the dream, is that this works out 100%. I have no doubt that this front office went substantially longer on the term than they wanted. I think
Yeah.
that 3 years is what they were after.
I
And
think they
my
were willing to
God,
go 4, and the reason it didn't happen until now was because he was like, if you want me to fucking come to Toronto, to that Bush League team, you got to really fucking bring me there. And I think that's what
this
they
is
did.
this is where the Roki Sasaki snake bite
Mm-hmm.
did nothing but paint Toronto further into the corner it was already in.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto is baby right now, and the corner is where we belong, I guess.
Man, it's like when you start dating a girl and you're all excited about it, and she's like phenomenal, and then you like brag to your friends, you're like, oh, I started dating this girl, she's great, and then you like show a picture of her, and then one of your buddies is like, oh yeah, I dated her last year, and they broke up for any reason, and you're just like less interested in her now.
Yeah.
You're like,
It's the
that's kind
Seinfeld
of where like,
episode. It's the Seinfeld episode where Jerry's date He finds out Newman dated her and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Newman broke up with her. And he
That's
just,
exactly what this is. It's exactly what this is. And that's where Toronto's at right now, where like everybody else is breaking up with Toronto. And everybody else is like, why? Even if I see something good in Toronto, it's like there must be something I'm not seeing if everybody else doesn't want to stay here. That's where I feel like with the Sasaki snake bite and just everything else of it is like, couldn't
Mhm.
bring Teoscar back. I don't know, man. I'm glad we got Santander. Like I to your point, it makes the team better for 2025. I don't know if we're looking long term that it makes the team better for the next 5 years because I'm worried. But I'm still grumpy about George Springer, and I wanted to get out
Listen,
from under that contract, and I think we just replaced it with another one.
I'm worried, but I am going to say that I think that the Toronto Blue Jays are spending money. There is all these rumors that they're in on Max Scherzer. I don't know if that actually helps this starting rotation or not, bringing in 42-year-old Max Scherzer. However, the fact that
Okay.
they're after him says something. They are still reports that they are all in on Pete Alonso, and I think his market has dropped enough that maybe they see value in the idea of spending some extra money to get him for 3 years. How close are they to locking in Vladdy long term? The fact that they brought Dalton Varsho, Chad Green, and Bo Bichette to Toronto to pitch Roki Sasaki, does that say anything or mean anything about Bo Bichette? Have we maybe misjudged where Bo is on wanting to be in Toronto? There's a lot of question marks. It was a
Maybe
weird
Bo Seward our meeting with Sasaki. Maybe he was like, "Hey, no, don't do it.
go to LA.
Go to LA. I'll see you there in
I'll
12
see you
months.
there in nine
Save a
months.
seat for me." Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
You know
If
what's really
if
frustrating?
dude, if we could fucking lock up Vlad and Bo long term, like people have their gripes about Bo. Man, would I ever fucking feel better about this team?
Oh, how can you not?
Like 700 million for Juan Soto or 700 million for Bo and Vlad. Split it however you want. Fucking give me those two over
Yeah,
Juan Soto every day
yeah,
of the week.
yeah.
That's my
I
opinion.
I agree. I agree 100%. I really wish I was more excited about this move. This is a move that had it happened in late November, we would have been
Hmm.
running up and down the streets. We would have been
Hmm.
celebrating. The future looks bright, and there's still a lot that can happen for us Toronto Blue Jays fans to legitimately see some hope and excitement for 2025. We're not there yet.
Wow. Um, I think Vlad's got to go to third base.
I
I
mean,
think we have, whether we get, look, I think plan A, bring in Pete Alonso, move
yeah.
Vlad to third, right? Vlad can play most of his time at third, play at first base when Alonso's DHing and vice versa and whatever, right? Even if we don't get Alonso, move Vlad to third. We have internal options that can play first. We do have guys that have some pop in the bat in AAA that can play first base. There's that weird log jam at first. But I think the idea of keeping him at first last season and previous to that, when there were signs that like, okay, he's lost weight, maybe we should try him at third. Like I get the idea of like, even though I don't like it from like ethically, it feels gross to like suppress his value as a free agent. You know, of like, well, okay, he's a 35, 40 home run first baseman, not
Mm-hmm.
as valuable as a 35, 40 home run third baseman, right? Like just subject or objectively, we can agree on that, right? So from like that standpoint, if you could have shaved $100 million off his value by keeping him at first base for the last 6 years, I get it. But now we're kind of past that point. Like we're at the point where we're going to be spending 400 to 500 million anyways. Move him back to third if he can do it. Like, and I
So
think he's going to be
here,
good enough at
here is a
third.
question for you because we are well aware of the warts that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has as a third baseman, right? He
Mhm.
is not perfect. He lacks a little bit in just being able to move side to side, right? His footwork is
Yep.
not perfect, and he put a
Yep.
ton of work in getting it better at first base. Third base is still definitely a work in progress. So, my question to
Cannon of an
you,
arm, though.
cannon of an arm, but
If he gets to that ball, it's an out.
I will ask you this.
Okay.
Do you feel better if we replace the name Pete Alonso, and there are proven um, reports out there that the Blue Jays do have an offer in to Alex Bregman? Would you
Okay.
prefer Alex Bregman, one of the best defensive third basemen in baseball, manning the hot corner with Vladdy at first and Santander as DH slash left field? Or do you feel better with Vladdy at third, Pete at first, who is also lacking defensive ability at first, which means we now have a defensive liability at
Yeah.
third, a defensive liability at first, and a defensive liability at left. Now, I will say Dalton Varsho, one of the best center fielders defensively in all of baseball. Andre Jimenez, one of the best middle infield defensive players in all of baseball. Question marks around Bo's defensive ability at
Yeah, yeah,
shortstop,
yeah.
that's for
I know where you're
sure.
going. Okay, so we're going all in on offense and really hoping that we start winning some games 7-6.
Or do
Well,
you like
trying to outscore them with 0 runs is not working.
so Bregman or Alonso?
Bregman 3, Vladdy 1, or Vladdy 3, Alonso 1.
I'm so curious what Bregman's market is right now. Like, I wonder if he's also in a similar scenario of Alonso where there's
He
only three
wasn't
year
getting the money he
deals.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, where there's only,
30
I think
years
it's the
old. He'll be
term.
31 very soon.
I doubt it's the money, Adam. My guess is it's the term. My guess is that the money is there for these guys, but I don't think there's 5 year deals. I think they're 3 year deals. And I think even at this point, they're like, hey, just give me a 4 year. And I don't think it's there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure if the fucking imagine Anthony Santander gets a longer deal than Bregman or Alonso. Hey,
Wouldn't
crazy,
that be wild? And it looks like
crazy
that could be
times.
the case
Probably gonna
here.
happen.
Grounds crew,
Um,
drop your comments before Adam answers here. Adam, you can let that kind of ruminate in the old noggin there. But Pete Alonso or Alex Bregman, who do you, the grounds crew, feel will make this team better? They're the two top free agents remaining on the market from a position player standpoint. Where do you fall? I think
I'm
Bregman.
I'm out on Bregman.
I
Here's
don't
why.
like him. I don't like him, but I think this team's better with him than
Yeah,
with Alonso.
here's why I'm out on him. First of all, I'm snake bit from the Astros. I
Yes.
still have resentment from the trash can of it all. George Springer is a thorn in my side every single day that he's on this team for another 2 seasons. Um, the best Bregman season, looking at his baseball reference,
2019, that scary, scary
2019,
2019.
it was a 8.9 WAR. Um, he was second in MVP votes that year. Hasn't had a WAR over 5 since then.
Mm-hmm.
31 years old. Now, I'm not going to say Pete Alonso is flawless either, but Vladdy to third, I think helps our chances of re-signing him because all accounts are he wants to play third.
He did come out in that interview with the Dominican sports broadcast there where he was like, the Blue Jays put me to first base as punishment for being fat.
Not
I
fat
mean,
anymore.
he's not.
Look, give honestly here's how much I would rather him at third than Bregman is Yeah, plan A is Pete Alonso at first, Vladdy at third. Short of that, I'd take Anthony Rizzo at first and Vladdy at third over Bregman at third, Vladdy at first.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take any three of those options over Vladdy at first, Ernie Clement at third.
I'm with you, buddy. No
No
offense to
shots fired
Ernie.
against Ernie Clement.
No, no, Ern Dog deserves a spot on this team.
26
Let
man,
him
number 26. Let him cook at the 26
let
spot on
him
this
be our
team.
Kevin Biggio. He
Right,
deserves it.
sure. But yeah, I think Vladdy the third is a relationship building move that may not result in more wins this season.
But
And
may
I think
result in more Vladdy long term.
man, if it moves the needle on Vladdy staying here by fucking 10%, I think it's worth doing it. I think we got to do everything we can to keep him here. And I think we didn't move fucking Bo to second.
It's less of a risk than trading for Miles Straw for fucking $2 million of international bonus pool money that is pretty much irrelevant now.
Yep. Indeed. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
I'm going to ask a very ignorant question that I could have just Googled before this show even starts. So
that's our catchphrase.
Hey, I'm well aware the comment section's going to roast me on this, but is the international bonus pool money, is it a use it or lose it scenario for this year? Or can you roll it into next year? Do you know, Adam?
I think it's a use it or lose it.
Okay.
I think there is a pool. I haven't looked conclusively to see that, other than to see, like, when you look at the list of each category a team is in, it doesn't ever have an indication that there has money rolled over from 2024 or 2023 or anything like that. So,
right.
But I don't know conclusively. I'm not a CBA expert by any means.
Well, there you have it. So, Anthony Santander, officially a Toronto Blue Jay. They get one of their targets. Starting to think it wasn't going to happen. This is something I wanted to touch on real quick, Adam. Brandon Weil reports on the Blue Jays, and his tweet here says opportunities can evolve throughout the offseason, but it's kind of crazy that the Blue Jays non-tendered Romano to save roughly $8 million, signed Hoffman despite the concerns over his physical, and took on $11 million of Miles Straw's contract, which when you see it written out, it does raise red flags, right? Because it does start to feel like this front office doesn't really have a direction or a firm plan and is kind of flailing a little bit like the big inflatable car sales guy, you know, blowing up, and it's just like you don't know what way he's going. He's going away though. You just don't know. And that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. Your Squid Game?
Yeah.
Squid Game season 2?
I haven't seen it, but I saw Squid Game season 1 and I'm aware it's out.
Okay. Well, spoiler alert. One of the games is like they're on a big turntable thing, and there are rooms with doors. And then when the music stops, the announcers are like, okay, teams of 3. And then you just have to get into a group of 3 and get in a room, right? And you don't know what the number is going to be, right? So there's always that odd man out of like trying to find a partner or 2 partners or whatever, essentially musical chairs kind of a thing, right?
Right.
And that's also like where we're at when we keep missing out on Sasaki and Teoscar and whoever, and we keep getting all these fucking silver medals in free agency, is it does leave you in these like panic moves of like, okay, we got to give Santander 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if we had got Sasaki, I don't think it's a 5-year deal for Santander. Oh, I'm looking by your eyes that this is a you got the
Jeff,
money now on Santander.
yeah. So Jeff Passan deal with the Blue Jays is for 5 years, a little more than 90 million.
Ooh, that's not bad.
That's not bad. That's actually less than I was expecting.
I was gonna take the over on 100 million for
So,
that. I thought it was gonna be
so
over 20. Huh.
if it's five
Okay.
years, let's call it 92 million. That's not too shabby as long as Anthony Santander in a year or two doesn't take a huge drop off a cliff. But that's around
Yeah,
18 million a year. That's not bad.
not bad at all.
Makes me
That's not bad
wonder
at all.
what we can get Pete Alonso for. The market on these guys has obviously fallen right out without the Dodgers and the Yankees in on them. Hmm. Can you see the Blue Jays being active on the trade market at this point? Like, do you think with the surplus of middle infielders, and I'm well aware that there aren't any big shining prospective stars here, but there is a glut of second and third basemen in this minor league system slash sort of holding 40-man roster spots. Can you see the Blue
Hmm.
Jays maybe trying to get a starting pitcher that way? Like the open market, I mean, it is being rumored that they're in on Scherzer. They're kicking the can on Nick Pivetta. There's names out there. Jose Quintana has been kind of linked with the Jays here and there. But do you think that the Jays would be better off trying to pry away a starting pitcher? Do they have the prospect capital to even do that without giving up a guy that we shouldn't be giving up?
I don't know.
Grounds crew, what do you think?
Acquiring pitchers doesn't feel like a team move for or a team in our farm system is not our strength.
No, it's not.
So I don't know what we could even give up to get like to get a pitcher that moves the needle at all.
Hmm.
I don't think we have the pieces to make that move happen. Like short of trading Bo or Vlad, obviously, if that's the decision we come to, there's pitchers to come back, right? Like you could probably move Bo and get a top tier pitcher back is part of the
Hmm.
package, right? A top pitcher and some prospects. Same with Vlad. Do we have anyone in our system that could get a pitcher who's going to be a top three guy for us? Like a sub 4 ERA at the major league level? Do we have any pieces?
I don't know is the real answer to that. I mean, there is obviously Addison Barger, there's obviously Will Wagner. There are names that other organizations would obviously have some interest in, but is it enough to pry away a starter of the ilk you're talking? I don't know, and I don't think so. How much term is left with these pitchers? I don't know. The guy I keep thinking about is Jordan Montgomery in Arizona, especially after they went out and got Corbin Burns and then also prior to that took a giant verbal dump on his head, right? Where they were like, Jordan Montgomery is the whole reason we suck this year. We made a mistake. Also, he's going to exercise his player option, which is a weird thing for us to have brought all of this stuff and shit out to the forefront of the public. So, is there like maybe a malcontent that they could get at where it's money, right? Like maybe there's a scenario where if they're taking on money in, let's say, a Jordan Montgomery's type of idea, especially for 1 year, because he's got 1 year left. Like maybe you can get that deal done for an Addison Barger.
Do you think Addison Barger? Okay, hold on. I'm not trying to crap on Addison Barger, but if we had if Alec Manoah didn't implode, his total crystal ball situation, right? Alec Manoah didn't implode, but the rest of the team did. Bo demanded a trade, and Vladdy was like, I'll stay here, but I'm fucking for sure going to the Yankees in free agency or the Red Sox or whatever, right? And we were just like, all right, we're full rebuild mode. Somebody wants Alec Manoah, who's like a three-ish career ERA, right? On the big side of three, but less than four. But he's not like Cy Young votes every year kind of guy, but he's like rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
And then we traded him away. And we didn't get a single prospect inside the top 100, like MLB prospects. How would you feel about that? Like if you saw the package that came back for a good young pitcher who's like a career 3.5 ERA guy, and you're like, oh, well, we got the Minnesota Twins number 7 prospect who's 180 in all of baseball prospects, and that's the brightest piece of that pie. Would you be happy with that? Because that's where Addison Barger is. Like we have Trey Savage is our only Jays prospect in the top 100 right now.
Mm-hmm.
21-year-old right-handed pitcher Trey Savage, 94 on the MLB top 100. Now, again, that is not like what MLB.com has listed as the prospect rankings is not what internal franchises have as their own scouting report. I get
It's
all
not the
that.
be all
But
end all.
it's a good place to start when we're having these conversations and we don't have access to the more accurate information. So is there a chance that there is a team out there who really values Addison Barger? Sure. But like again, if we're talking about getting a number 3 starter back, like I don't think Barger moves the needle for anybody. Not for
Well, it would depend.
a good young pitcher.
In Jordan Montgomery's case, maybe there is a scenario where the Diamondbacks would love to lose that $23 million on the books, and they can see it's not, yes, they like the value in Barger, but more so it's about offloading the money, right? So eh, Montgomery is the example I'm using just because he's the one guy I can think of where,
Sure.
there probably is a little bit of animosity between the organization and the player, and maybe there is a way of prying him away from the Diamondbacks. And maybe the
And I know when you
D-backs.
say Addison Barger, obviously there's going to be other
Yes.
pieces, but we don't
Yes.
need to name the other 3 pieces that are going to be loosely interchangeable.
Yes, exactly.
Um,
So, and please speak up, grounds crew. Let us know. We're doing mailbag tomorrow, so obviously let us know where you're at on the trade market, where you think the Blue Jays can bolster this lineup without spending money. Not saying that they shouldn't spend money still, but I think they've got. I mean, who knows? This could be it. This literally could fucking be it, and it wouldn't even shock me at all. That said, this team is marginally better than last year, and they won 74 games last year. So, like, is this an 80 win team? Maybe, but who gives a shit?
yeah, 80 is not enough. So, I mean,
So, to make this an 87 to 90 win team, I still truly believe you need Alonso or Bregman, and you need another starting
yeah,
pitcher. And
I'm
we're
with you.
still rolling the dice out.
Yeah, we do need 2 more big moves,
Because
medium
don't
to
kid
big
yourself.
moves.
The White Sox still suck balls. And that AL Central is soft as all get out. And they are once again going to
They're going to
have
pad the
2 or 3 teams
Yeah,
competing for a wild card, something that hadn't been the case for most of the 2000s. So,
indeed.
yeah, it's going to be harder to win 88 games and squeak into the wild card in the AL East than it's going to be to win 88 games and squeak into the wild card in the AL Central.
Yep, that's true.
And I don't think this team. is good enough yet. I mean, they need more. This is a start. They finally land a guy they're after.
Yeah, I mean, dollars is good. 90 mil
Yeah.
is good. Honestly, I'm annoyed with the 5 years,
Yeah.
but if you had told me it was 90 mil over 4 years, I probably would have been like,
You know
okay
what?
with
I
it.
and
Right? Like if it was like 22 million a year for 4 years, it was like 88 million, and we had to give him an extra 4 million bucks in the fifth year to bring him in. I'm like, I think I'm okay with that. Like
I'm
if that's
okay
what we're
with that
talking
too.
about here,
Yeah.
it's not that much of a, I'm not, I don't totally speculating that it would have been 4 years at 88 million, but
And
I just mean
I
I would have been okay if that was the deal. If they said we signed him for 4 years, $88 million, I'd been like, ooh, that's a lot, but okay, we got him.
yeah,
So to go an extra year, but it's only somewhere in the 90s, 90 million. I have to be okay with that, I think. But I'm still worried about the long term of this contract. I think it is a thing that he could age well. You're right. He could be Batista 2.0. I'm worried that it's going to be Springer 2.0. And I think we hopefully get a good run out of him this year. And then by the last 2, maybe 3 years of this deal, it might be kind of ugly.
it might be,
But
and
at
I'm
least it's not
with you.
25 million for Springer. So
I'm
still not
with
that
you.
bad.
Because all the rumors, Adam, was that the Jays' last offer to Santander was 4 years, 84 million. So if they had
So
to add an
yeah.
extra year, it's 6 million, 7 million to get it done.
Yep.
I'm all right with it. I'm all right
Me
with it.
too.
I honestly
Me
was
too.
expecting to see like 110 million. So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah, no,
better
I
than
was
that.
too. When they said 5 years, that's what I was thinking. It was 100, 110. I was taking the over on 100 for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, 90 is I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the Dodgers a little bit here. Tanner
Hmm.
Scott, the biggest high leverage reliever on the market, without a doubt. Signs to shocking drum roll the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is from Jeff Passan. Closer Tanner Scott and the Los Angeles Dodgers in agreement on a 4 year, $72 million contract. Scott, 30, was the best free agent reliever available this winter and got paid an elite amount as part of the Dodgers bullpen. So, Tanner Scott was one of the relievers the Blue Jays were looking at. In fact, John Heyman couldn't wait to be a piece of shit and text or tweet right away. Blue Jays also in on Tanner Scott losing out, right? Like these guys at this point, it's a
I
joke.
know. It is the thing, is if the Blue Jays even kick the tires on a guy and
Mention
then he
it.
goes to the
It's funny.
Dodgers, it's like, oh, runner up again.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
probably the best
Dodgers
best
at this
left-handed
point,
reliever available.
yeah.
Um, I have a lot of money for a closer who might not be your closer. Between him and what's the Trinan, Lake Trinan was their guy last year, like, and he's back. So, man, that's just okay. As much as the Jays are losing out to the Dodgers, Padres losing out to the Dodgers, man. They were also in on Sasaki.
Yeah.
Tanner Scott was their guy last year. Like they
Yes,
traded
he
for him.
was. Yeah.
Awesome. Like this is I've always thought of the Padres, and I know I've said this before on the show, and you've agreed that the Padres are like the Blue Jays of the NL, right? Like
Yeah.
they're little brother to the Yankees, little brother to the Padres, or little brother to the Dodgers, right? Like honestly, saying we're little brother to the Yankees might be giving us too much credit, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think the Yankees look at us as the little brother.
No.
I think the
We're
Red
the little
Sox might be their
cousin.
little brother or
Yeah.
the little cousin. Yeah. Different last name for sure. Um,
But and you make a really good point. Like, it's not just the Jays losing out to the Dodgers, it's the Padres. It is every
It's all of
other
baseball.
team. This is from Jeff Passan. When the Tanner Scott deal is made official, the Dodgers luxury tax payroll for 2025 will exceed 375 million. That's about 70 million more than the next highest team, Philadelphia. The Yankees are the only team with a CBT payroll projected to be over 300 million outside the Dodgers. And it is just more and more deferred money. This is according to Fangraph here. Where is it? Let's see what we got. So deferred money on the active Dodgers contract. Shohei Ohtani is 680 million deferred. Mookie Betts 115. Blake Snell 66 deferred. Freddie Freeman 57. 50 million to Will Smith. 25 to Tommy Edman, 23.5 to Teoscar Hernandez, and 21 million to Tanner Scott. That's a total of 1.375 billion. And I know every team can do this. You're allowed to defer money. But the fact that none of that deferred money goes against the luxury tax blows my mind. It's all put through that fucking equation
Yeah,
for
the inflation or
for
whatever,
the
today's
inflation.
dollars.
And so it counts so much less against. And that should be, if you're going to defer money, I feel like the
You gotta calculate it
penalty
differently.
you should need to pay is that the money counts as the money. So you can defer it for a million years if you want. You're still paying what it's worth right then when you sign the deal. And I know
Yeah,
Dodgers fans are lining up to call everyone saying this a little bitch, and I guess that's what I am. But I just like everyone talks about how this is so good for baseball. The Dodgers are so good for baseball. Oh, it's so wonderful to have one mega. Like it's just like it's turned into the world, right? It's just like, oh, why can't someone think of the billionaires?
the, the funny thing with that is like you do hear that a lot, but I think the only people saying it aren't baseball people. It's like people that cover other sports and are watching it from a outsider's perspective are like, oh, this is good. This is more teams should do this. You should want your owner to also do this. But not possible. It's not just that they're like outsmarting everyone. It's like they are in a exceptional market. They have their TV money deal is with Comcast is on a level that it's other teams don't have the same opportunities. Like it's not a matter of want. Like Cohen could want if he, and is. But beyond that, it's not good. It's look, I think I was ahead of the curve in the World Series when I was cheering for the Yankees. Yuck. I still have garlic hanging at my front door. I'm so sick about rooting for the Yankees against these Dodgers, but that was just the first year of what is going to be a fucking ugly next 5 to 10 years of these Dodgers, man. And it's not going to stop anytime soon. They've got the cheat code, and
And they're
I
using
mean,
it
kudos to them in one way,
max.
Uh,
This is going to catch up to them. This will technically catch up to them, but they are the late 90s Yankees.
yeah, and I think it's safe to say there are going to be at least 29 other team fan bases actively rooting against the Dodgers. Like,
And you
whether
know
your
what's
team's a
hilarious
playoff
too?
contender or not, you're tuning into Dodgers playoff games rooting against the Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're a Marlins fan, you're just all you care about is even if a division rival is going against the Dodgers, you're like, yeah, who's in the Marlins division? The Mets?
Yeah, the Mets and the
Are you
Braves.
cheering for the Mets over the Dodgers if you're a Marlins fan? I feel like I am.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so
But
funny.
maybe the Mets are still close enough to the Dodgers where you're not quite there yet.
Like this is where we're at. Where when the Mets play the Dodgers, we're like, the Mets are such an upstart underdog. Look at those. Look at those. Like,
The- I know it's crazy. Um,
I just
the one of the
don't
worst one of the
know.
worst part of the about the Yankees in the '90s though was the fans were insufferable.
Yes.
And I'm telling you right now, Dodgers fans are not going to be any nicer about it.
No, no, no. They've already become insufferable because they think they
Yeah.
deserve it. Speaking of Yankees fans, there is a hilarious thing going on right now where I watched a bunch of Yankee fans doing these content videos where they were like
Okay.
congratulating Roki Sasaki on picking a real team, going to this is how big of losers Yankees fans have become. Is they don't even get to like pump up their own rich team. They have to literally pump up the other rich team. They're not even the rich team they're proud of
Yeah.
anymore. Think about
Yeah.
that. They're such bootlickers. They can't even lick their own
Bootlickers.
billionaires' boots. They got to go to the Dodgers. It's craziness. Like this is how upset they were that Soto went to the Mets, right? A fake New York team. You don't have the balls to play for the Yankees. It's like, okay, well, all right. Let's end on this, Adam, because I think it does all tie in with this super team. Everyone's putting Shohei Ohtani at the top of this Dodger rotation. And I read something really interesting from Baseball Doesn't Exist, a great, great content creator. If you
Yep.
don't follow Baseball Doesn't Exist, do yourself a favor and do it. They make some great videos and just put out some fantastic threads. So this is from Baseball Doesn't Exist. Shohei Ohtani is returning to pitch this season. According to history, him being successful is extremely unlikely. So Ohtani got his second Tommy John surgery at the end of 2023. Out of 101 MLB pitchers who got it a second time, 25% of them never pitched again in Major League Baseball. Out of 42 pitchers in Ohtani's age bracket, 27 to 31, to get two Tommy Johns, only six of them produced more than one win above replacement after their second surgery. That's 14.3%. To finish his contract as a two-way player, he needs to pitch 9 more seasons. For the ones who actually do return, the average career length of a second Tommy John is 3 years. For starting pitchers, the statistics are even scarier. For starters, the most seasons ever pitched after two Tommy John surgeries, 4. And that's in the history of baseball.
Hmm.
That was John Farrell, and he only threw 114.2 innings during those 4 seasons, and he had a 7.77 ERA.
Well,
Walker Buehler, two-time All-Star, and finished fourth in Cy Young voting. Since his second Tommy John surgery, has an ERA of 5.38. Hyun-Jin Ryu won an ERA title and got MVP votes. He was so ineffective after his second Tommy John that he went without MLB offers and is back pitching in Korea. Josh Johnson, two-time All-Star, an ERA title winner, got a second Tommy John surgery, never pitched again. When it comes to starters, only Ohtani's age, this is the only real success story. Nathan Eovaldi. In 7 seasons, Nathan Eovaldi has a 13.5 win above replacement, a 3.95 ERA since his second TJ, an improvement to the 8.1 wins above replacement, 4.21 ERA he had in the 7 seasons before his second Tommy John surgery. But the biggest
okay.
hope for Shohei, Jeff Dugas. He developed a new Tommy John procedure that reattaches the ligament with an internal brace. So this is Alec Manoah got this one too. And basically, it's a brace instead of a full new ligament. This is a new type of Tommy John, which allows pitchers to come back sooner. This is the surgery Shohei elected to get in 2023. The surgery allows pitchers to get back on the mound sooner. The hope is it also gets them on the mound longer. But due to its novelty, we aren't exactly sure how much more this surgery will increase the pitcher's odds of a successful return. In 2025, with Shohei Ohtani, Jacob DeGrom, and Spencer Strider all returning after getting this surgery, we're going to have our answers.
Well, yeah, I mean, when he went down with that injury, I was devastated for him
Mm-hmm.
because I thought it was going to cost him $500 million. I thought he's going to get paid as a DH now.
Yeah.
I the money he got, given that condition, is impressive.
No DH has
I
ever signed that big of a contract until Juan Soto.
I mean, I guess part of the investment in Shohei Ohtani is like the Japanese appeal factor, right? Of like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to increase our chances with Yamamoto. It's going to increase our odds of getting Sasaki, right? Like, you do have to factor that in, I think, to the equation when evaluating the deal. But, and I've said this a bunch of times, like, I think he will pitch again, but I think it's going to be very minimal this season and then never again beyond this season. Like, I think they're
And
going to do it
won't see the
because
success we saw.
yeah, and it just, they got to do it for the baseball card factor and for the bobblehead factor, right? Like, they've got to get him in a Dodgers uniform on the pitcher's mound
Yeah.
for the historical, all the bullshit that you care about as a marketing team and whatever, right? All the uncrustables they're going to sell with him pitching a ball to himself and then hitting one out of the park and all that stupid shenanigans, right? Like,
Yeah.
the gimmick of it, he's got to do it. He's got to take the mound. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a relief role one time. Like, that would be disappointing, and I think it will be more than that. But I do not think, from the front office standpoint, there is a appetite to push him as a starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to be aware of the fact that, like, he's not a guy they're gonna be able to rely on for 180 innings anytime
Yeah.
soon, if ever again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, media's still going to push it, right? They're still going to list him in their list of starting pitchers for next season, and Shohei and Snell, and you're going to
Yeah.
go down the list, and he's going to be at the top of it. But he's going to be in the top of it the same way during the playoffs
That Jacob
when
DeGrom
fucking
was in 2023 with the
well,
Rangers.
I was gonna say the way Shohei Ohtani at bat countdown is on, right? Like, oh, it's we're 7 batters away from Shohei, we're 6 batters away from
Yeah.
Shohei. And it was like, okay, well, I'd rather watch Freddie Freeman in the World Series the way he was swinging a bat, but it was
Yeah.
still countdown to Shohei. So Shohei's going to be at the top of every starting rotation graphic on ESPN and every sports network for sure the next 4 months. But practically speaking, I would be skeptical about how much he actually pitches as a pitcher ever again, really. So,
This has been MLB Mondays. Normally, this is a Patreon exclusive. We have put this out publicly because the Blue Jays actually landed a guy. Holy crap, they got
hey,
their target of Anthony Santander, switch hitting power boy to put in the cleanup spot finally. This team's been without a cleanup hitter for 2 years, and they were in desperate need of one. So there we go. One step closer to this team being watchable. Drop your comments below. Who do you think needs to hit the books next? Who does this team need in this lineup to make this an actual contending team in 2025? The bullpen's much better, and they have a cleanup hitter now. Drop your comments. We'll tackle these in mailbag tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and following along. Hit subscribe, and that like button helps the channel out. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow.